Kingdom Come Deliverance II. It launched earlier this year to critical acclaim and is one of the frontrunners for Game of the Year consideration this year. And I personally adore it. It's one of my favorite games in the last ever, and it's great. I love it. And since its launch, it's actually had a couple of DLC launches. First, Brushes with Death, Legacy of the Forge came second, and now Mysteria Ecclesiae. This is an all-new storyline set in the Sedletz Monastery where you investigate a deadly, mysterious illness that has overtaken the monastery. There's new characters, a ton of new cutscenes, a new area to explore, and lots more roles to be played. And so when Warhorse, the developers of KCD2, reached out and offered to sponsor this video where I could try the DLC early and share my thoughts with you, I agreed, so long as I'm allowed to say whatever I want, positive or negative, and they agreed. And I can understand why, because it's very good and there are cats in the library. I mean, how cute is that? They just like chill on the bookshelves. You'll see them running around. They may or may not have something else to do with everything going on, but I'll leave it there. Or maybe they're just cute cats sitting on books, who knows? But with this DLC, like I said, you get access to an all new area, an entire monastery actually, and oh, there's a guard coming for me, which is super, super cool and very, very detailed. Basically, the premise of the DLC is that you arrive at the monastery on a separate task. But once you arrive, it becomes clear that something is afoot. There is an illness, a mysterious illness spreading throughout the entire monastery, affecting all sorts of people who shouldn't be getting infected and should have nothing to do with each other, and you have to figure out what's going on and how to fix it. And this hit a little close to home because like a week and a half ago, I sounded like this in one of our latest videos.
So a lot has happened in the last week or so with Assassin's Creed, and I want to talk about it despite sounding like a 90-year-old chain-smoking grandma.
Yeah, I got really, really sick, like bad. I was kind of out of commission for a while, but I'm back now and I can talk about KCD2, which is all I've ever really wanted to do. And so trying to solve a mysterious illness that nobody understands is something that I've been doing in the real life too, so it's pertinent. But allow me to describe kind of what this DLC is like. Basically, it's a narrative-focused DLC. It's not focused on combat. It's not focused on fast traveling to different points across the map. It's not a widespread DLC. It's very narrow and tightly focused. And as a result, you will get to know the grounds of the monastery, very, very well. You'll get to know a lot of the new characters, some of the brothers working here very, very well. You'll get to hang out inside the beautiful, beautiful cathedral, even finding a mysterious crypt that's stored underneath the very floor of it. It's beautiful. And I should mention that this DLC is also unlockable specifically after you get access to the Kuttenberg region, pretty much immediately after, as far as I'm aware. And as a result, most players who will start the game from the beginning and play all the way through will be playing this in the middle of their run of the game. It's not really an end game DLC, which I think is important to stress because some may expect that this, as the final DLC for KCD2, is sort of like a send-off for Henry, and it's not really written that way. It's designed to be played in the middle of your playthrough, not really as like a separate epilogue, you know, kind of like Blood and Wine for The Witcher 3 was the final end note. It was the final stamp on that package. With this DLC, it is the final one they're making for the game, but it's not narratively the final piece of the puzzle. Now, that may not matter to you, and that's totally, totally fine, but I want to be clear about it before you go into it, just so you don't have any false expectations of like a final epilogue chapter to the story or something. That's not what this is designed to be. It's supposed to be something you play while you're going through the main story before all of the events take place within that main story, which are quite profound. In terms of gameplay, this DLC is broken up into a series of quests, some mandatory and some optional, but almost all of them intertwine, meaning that you may have a side quest that tasks you with collecting items to make, say, a witch doctor's mask, basically, that will protect you against this infection. And even though you don't need to do that quest, if you do, it will make the main story quest line easier to avoid spoilers. Let's just say if you make the mask, you may be very thankful that you made the mask, but if you don't, interesting things may happen that wouldn't have happened if you had made the mask. You can probably put two and two together, but that's basically what we're talking about. Look at the shadow slowly moving. You gotta love real-time day-night cycles. Look at that. Oh, baby. There's also a point in the story where basically the entire monastery goes on lockdown, which again is something I think we all unfortunately can relate to, or at least understand. And that serves as an interesting moment for the game to challenge you to a lot of stealth, which is something a lot of players didn't really engage with in the base game. Because everything is on lockdown, you have to stealth your way throughout the monastery grounds, whether it's the back gardens like I am at here, or maybe in the cemetery in this back corner, which is locked. You know, I'm gonna open it anyways. I don't care. I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel. Unlock. Go. Boom. Jeez, I'm good. I'm good. See? Cemetery. I loaded back to older saves for the sake of this video because I finished the DLC. I've played it all the way through, but obviously, like, I don't want to use that end game save while demonstrating what this is while you're playing it. So I have to redo locked doors and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to take these flowers. You may notice that I'm also not wearing armor or weapons or anything. I actually have a separate outfit specifically set up for this this journey, and that's because, you know, you can use the loadout system, as you can see here, to swap different loadouts and whatever you so desire. I just was talking to somebody on stream the other day, and they didn't know that there was like a loadout system in KCD2. They had never noticed this, and I was like, bro, you're making life way harder on yourself. Like, you can have your combat outfit, you can have your like shopping outfit that gives you boosts to like bartering or charisma rather, and you can have maybe a stealth outfit that you can swap between and dedicate that. Like, you can make your life way easier if you use the loadouts just by swapping between these. But anyway, because this is set within a monastery, they don't want you marching around with swords and weaponry and stuff out. So I swapped and I bought these nice little noble's clothes, and that's what I've been wearing as I go through the DLC. They do confiscate your weapons when you enter the monastery grounds, which is going to be important in later, more challenging sections of the game for various reasons, when you might wish you had had a sword or armor, but you know, I'll let you come across that when you come across that. But what I will say is that this was a really nice change of pace compared to some of the other DLC that we've gotten. The first DLC, Brushes with Death, is a much more spread out DLC. It's broken up into a bunch of quest lines where you're basically going on scavenger hunts. You're trying to collect different things, and it's very wide. Like, everything is scattered. You're going to need to travel a lot. And if you've already played the game, or if you're in the late game, you can just fast travel to a lot of it. And it's not that engaging, in my opinion. And the second DLC was, of course, all about the smithy. And that is a very different DLC. You know, it's kind of about building up a settlement for you to have all of your different basically vendors and your alchemy bench and everything else in one centralized spot, which can be very, very good for quality of life of play, but it also is just not really that much new additional content besides like procedural stuff that just kind of pops up for you to increase your guild reputation. But this DLC is all original content. It's all new. It's a new area. It's new characters, and there's a good amount of it. It's like a 10 to 15 hour DLC, depending on how much of the side stuff you do. There's new characters like Albic, who's a physician and a scholar and a close friend of His Majesty King Wenceslas IV. He's probably what I would describe as the main character of the DLC, at the centerpiece of the entire narrative. You also meet Zacharias, who is a personal physician of King Sigismund and a former pupil of Albic. And I'm sorry, but to me, there's just something about him where he reminds me of Casey Neistat. Like, he doesn't look exactly like Casey Neistat, but now that I've noticed that they have a similar vibe, I can't unsee it. So now I'm going to share that with you. And maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree, but now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. So there you go. But don't worry, he doesn't vlog in this DLC. And the last main new character is Grace Abbot John III. He's the head of the Sedletz Monastery, and he's in charge of the entire thing. And it's a tough job because when you arrive at the monastery, it becomes very, very clear that there's a lot of like repair work being done because it's kind of falling apart. And they also don't really have a lot of food. They don't have a lot of resources, and they are struggling. And so naturally, the abbot is kind of on edge when you arrive, especially with a mysterious illness sweeping through the monastery. And he asks for your help. Oh, level 23. Look at that. See, sometimes it's worth going back to older saves just so you can re-experience a level up. Isn't that fun? It's a magical moment. But overall, without getting into spoilers, I really like the DLC. I think this is my favorite of the ones that they've done, just for sake of new content, a new area, new characters. It's well written, it's well performed, it's well executed, and there are plenty of secrets and fun to be found, and your choices can significantly change the ending of the DLC. Maybe just how one character ends up or how everything plays out at the end. And so your actions actually do have an impact. It's nothing insane, but it does matter. This is not a linear DLC. It does matter what you do and how you choose to deal with the challenges presented to you. There was even one moment in the DLC where I thought I should go talk to this guy. It's a risk, but I should go talk to this guy because there was something going on. And I went and I talked with him, and it ended up unlocking a very helpful mechanic that wasn't there previously. It wasn't an objective or a quest marker. It was just something I thought maybe I should do this. And it rewarded me because they had considered doing that as well, which is one of my favorite things in RPGs, is when you think, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if that'll work. And then it turns out the devs have thought of that and rewards you for doing it. I absolutely love that. And that is certainly present here as well. Like even over here, you see these murals? You want to pray at a mural? Let's pray. You didn't expect me to pray in this YouTube video, did you? Well, boom, there you go. This is what you get. KCD2, ooh baby. It's good for your soul as a game and good for your soul in terms of prayer. So there you go. Overall, I recommend checking out the DLC, especially if you have the expansion pass and you already have it. Like definitely make time to play it. And if you're going through the game for the first time, I do recommend that you try the second DLC, especially the Legacy of the Forge, to unlock the smithy. And then I also recommend that you try this one. Brushes with Death, I think, is more of a you can or you can pass on it. It's not that crucial. It's fine, but it's nothing crazy. But this is definitely one I would recommend putting on your to-do list. Like I said, it's 10 to 15 hours, depending on how much stuff you want to do. And it's all original stuff. And I really ate it up. I really liked it. But that brings me to the second chunk of this video, which is sort of where this leaves us. You see, this is the last DLC for KCD2, and that means we're saying goodbye to it. In fact, at the end of this year, Warhorse is going on sort of an extended vacation, a sabbatical maybe is what you might want to call it, just a holiday, whatever. But they are going to take some time, go on vacation, celebrate the holidays with their families, because last year, of course, they were kind of rushing to get the game ready. And now it's just time for quiet. And when they come back after that break, they're going to really start full force on whatever is next. There's a lot of speculation on what that may be. Some people are suspecting that maybe they do another KCD DLC that is like unannounced. I don't think that's happening. Some people are suggesting that they'll just jump right into KCD3. I don't think that's happening either. There's been a lot of messaging from like Sotobi about potentially like wanting to avoid stagnation and fatigue, which is something I think definitely could be the case. You got to remember, the devs that are working on this game have been working on this for like a decade, on KCD as a franchise. And so they know it, they love it dearly, but they probably do want to do something fresh and different. I mean, imagine if you did something at work for a decade, you'd probably want to shake it up at some point and just do something different. Just try something else. It's what happened with CD Projekt Red. They did the Witcher series for a decade, basically. And then they said, you know what? We want to shake it up. Let's do Cyberpunk. And I would not be shocked if they do something totally unexpected. It might still be medieval. It might still be maybe fantasy. Maybe it's like magic inspired or something. But I do think they're going to do something new, a new original IP. And I don't think it's going to be KCD. And that means that this is really our send-off for Henry and KCD, at least for now. And that's a little sad because I love this game. I love the first game as well, don't get me wrong, but I loved KCD2 especially. It's just one of the most immersive RPGs I've ever played, and I've put a lot of time into this game. I love it dearly. And knowing that this is kind of the end of the road is it's a little sad. It's bittersweet. And if I had to give one critique to the DLC, I think this is probably what it would be. Like, this is the final DLC, and I understand that it unlocks in the middle of the game, basically, when you arrive at Kuttenberg. And as a result, they wanted it to feel like something that isn't the end of Henry's story, because it's not going to be the end of Henry's story for most players who go through the game from start to finish and just play this DLC or this quest line once it unlocks. I get that, but I was really hoping for there to be this like blood and wine moment for KCD2 where we're sending Henry off, and it's like that final shot in Blood and Wine, the final moments where Geralt is sitting on the like, I think it's a I don't know what you call it, but it's a very fancy chair overlooking the villa and overlooking Toussaint. And you understand that this is the send-off. This is where we say goodbye to Geralt. And, you know, when you're playing other games in the next few years, you know, it's somewhere in like a magical alternate realm, he's still sitting there sipping wine and living out the final days of his life in Toussaint, surrounded by whoever his love interest was that you chose, assuming you didn't try to choose everybody, in which case you're probably lonely. Oh, well, I guess Dandelion does show up if you do that, but you get what I mean. And don't get me wrong, the end of KCD2 does wrap up Henry's story in a pretty satisfying way. No spoilers or anything, but it does a good job of it, in my opinion. It's just with this DLC, I was hoping to have one of those moments as well, like a final moment to send off Henry into the sunset. But you know what? It's probably just because I love KCD that much. And so I just want more. You know, I'm greedy. What can I say? I just want more. But what I do know is that this is a really good DLC to finalize like the package of the expansion pass or season pass, whatever you want to call it. And it's a good addition to the KCD2 library of content. It's just as good as all the stuff you can get in the base game, if not a good bit better than a lot of the side content in the base game. And it's a worthy addition. And now I'm just excited to see what's next. I love KCD2. I recommend you play it. I recommend you try this DLC for sure. And I personally just can't wait to see what comes next for Warhorse and for KCD, but just in general, this team. I think it's really a remarkable story. It's great to have a studio that is like community first and community driven, where they're focused on what the fans want and what the community is looking for. And they're focused on delivering that, even at the cost of like profits and chasing what the easy money would have been. It's just really refreshing to see that type of thing. So I can't wait to see what they do next, because I think it's going to be just as remarkable, if not more so. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for helping me justify playing so much Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 this year. It's for a while it was a bit of a problem, I will grant you, but now that it's kind of all over, I don't know, it's a little bittersweet. I'm probably gonna wait like 6 months and then go and do another hardcore playthrough, let's be completely honest with ourselves. But now that it's all said and done, it's a little again bittersweet. It's almost like I don't want to end this video, because I know that I'm not probably going to make another video on something Kingdom Come Deliverance or Warhorse related for a while. So I'm like, don't let it stop. But every good thing has to come to an end at some point. And I suppose this is the end for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And it's the start of something new that we don't even know about yet. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. I love you all desperately. Thank you again to Warhorse and PlayOn for sponsoring the video and giving me access to the DLC early so that I could play through it frantically and enamoredly over the last few days or so. I've had a great time, and I'm very thankful for all of you guys watching and making this possible. So thank you all. I'll see you in the next video. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.